everybody
Yeah,
in
no.
won't let them. I've only seen one person driving. Everybody else wants it.
And I should have gone through it. Yeah. I didn't think to read it.
I want to do it. Everybody else. The only thing about like you're yeah. I mean, yeah. I was gonna say I understand that. And she, from what I understand, last year when I does well, so yeah, just because she thought so why do something else?
Hey, this is not.
Hey, I just told Joe I put him on.
I did not
He
say
said
this.
great.
Okay.
He just texted to say he's gonna leave. I don't know why.
His
If I
daughter's
have
going
anything.
through that senior stuff, senior stuff.
Well, I mean, I don't know why he texted me. I was harassing him the other day, I guess. Maybe that's why.
With that, like, yeah.
Hey Barry, I talked to Joe and he said he said he would work on the electric. He'd have Cliff take a look at it and figure out what's going on.
You ready?
Oh, Christmas.
John, you ready?
Have some.
Father, this day we thank you for Granby. We thank you for the council. We thank you for the employees of the city, the police, Father, all those who do wonderful maintenance for our town. We pray a blessing upon all these in this meeting tonight, Father, in the name of Jesus. May decisions that are wise be made.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Come into session at 6:02.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here. First, approve or make adjustments to the agenda.
I make a motion that we move Joe Gwynn from number 5 to after number 11.
And also 6. He's got the
Sure.
contract for the ballpark.
Okay. 6 also.
Second.
Got a motion, a second, to move 5 and 6 behind the number 11 closed session. All those in favor? 4-0. Approval of the minutes of January 5th, January the 10th.
I'll make a motion with the exception of changing item number 4 that I've discussed with Lana.
Where's that at?
It was a 3-1 vote instead of a 4-0.
Okay. Do you have that, Lana? I do. Okay.
So I make a motion we accept those with the changes.
Second.
A motion second to accept the minutes with the change. All those in favor? 4-0. Our first guest is Sally Bush. Sally?
I have no idea how the microphone works, or if it does.
Just go to talking and it'll should pick you up.
All right, I'm Sally Bush, and I'm a realtor, and I am associated with the Four Corners Realtors, which is our local association, and it is based out of Neosho, but it covers the whole area. Realtors do more than sell homes. They actually assist with many community projects and charitable causes. That includes like Coats for Kids, food banks, Habitat for Humanity. Last year, we donated our straw after the parade to the East Newton Animal Coalition for the animals. Last fall, we held a golf tournament in Neosho, and we were able to donate to the VFW $8,000, and it helped them with their roof that they desperately needed to replace. We're going to have another one this year, and with that, we're going to provide the funds to the NUMAC CASA group to assist them. They're a volunteer group that works with foster children in the area. In 2020, our association applied for and received a community placemaking grant. And we used that grant in Neosho. They were putting in the bike trails, the bike park, and we contributed a bench and a water bottle filling station to that. The grants are relatively small. They're about $5,000 maximum. And they are strictly for certain things like this, for the community itself. You can take something blighted and turn it into something useful, a community garden, dog park, whatever. I would like to apply for a grant this year, and I'd like to apply for a grant in Granby. The two items that I suggested to our outreach committee was either fencing for a dog park on the lot where the restrooms are gonna be remodeled and constructed. I know it would take working with Joe Wynn to exactly get that worked out, but I can see how it could work around that particular area. It would probably take a little bit of work by the city to get it cleaned up a little bit, put fencing in, but I've been getting bids for that. And also for, the other idea that I had was the trail there in Dick Smith Park. It really isn't a good walking path, and it's not accessible to wheelchairs. And I'd love to see that either paved or concreted, where a wheelchair could access our park better from the parking lot. So anyway, they will only give one grant, but I'd like to apply for the 2 grants. But in order to do that, I have to have a letter from the city saying that, a letter of commitment, saying that you will accept it and accept the liability and maintenance after it is completed. If the grant's awarded, the work has to be done this calendar year. And anyway, so my question is, would you accept the project after it's completed and maintain it? And provide me with a letter from the city saying that so that we can make the application.
Well, I like all the ideas, Sally. Obviously, all of them would be beneficial to this town. Council, you have any questions for Sally? She's looking for an okay, am I correct?
Yes.
When does this get accepted or denied? Do you know?
I just can't make the application even until I have commitment from the city.
I do have a question. You said the max is 5,000, correct?
It's just a small grant. We have to raise the funds for any balance.
So.
What we did at the bike park was they actually did this brochure, and we had, I don't know that I'd get us, we had a lot of $500 donors over there that put in money and stuff.
Gotcha.
And, so we just have to come up with fundraisers. We did.
So they put a map on the back here.
They did a bike trail map on there on that one. And that's just, I brought that for an example, just to show you, because we have to raise the rest of the funds, whatever it costs.
So.
Both of these projects are more than $5,000.
Right, which would be quite a bit for the concrete if you were to do the walking path.
It would be a lot.
Is there a way?
Both 2 bids have come in and they're both like at $25,000.
Right. Is there a way we could focus on doing the dog park this time, knowing that 5,000 would go a long ways in fencing? And then we can actually get other pieces of it donated if we needed to. That way there would be less money needed to be raised.
I honestly think the dog park is more feasible, and the reason I say that is because I've been questioned already. They won't allow you to work on a project that's already started. And they're concerned that the trail already having something there, might cause it to get turned down. But they just recommended applying for both of them and see where it goes. But it is a much more expensive project.
Much more.
I got a bid on the fence, the same guy that's doing the dog park in Neosho. I had him bid it 2 different ways because he said that Neosho's going with a 4-foot fence. And I was actually thinking 5 foot at first. And he said, well, they're going with a 4-foot fence. And I'm like, okay, So, and the 4-foot fence costing, of course, was a lot more acceptable. And just doing a light commercial gauge. Because dog parks owners are responsible for their animals, and they have to be there with them. It's not some place they just go and turn their doggies in like a doggy daycare. This isn't, just a place to get them off their leash.
Gotcha.
And give them a chance to run with the owner there.
I just feel like if we focused on the dog park, you would be able to even work with maybe Catherine and maybe team up a little bit easier. I don't know, council, like, what's your
Do you have a base cost for everything that you're wanting to happen at the dog park?
Not 100%, I was actually just focusing on the fencing. I mean, I'd love to see other stuff too, but the fencing is the main cost.
And what is the total of
And,
that?
he gave me a cost of $20 a foot on the 4-foot fence, and then it's gotta have 2 gates. You've gotta have an entryway with, where you can take your dog in, close that gate, and then open the next gate to go in. It's a safety feature that all dog parks have. And, each gate, I think he priced me at $200 for the 2. I just ran a quick one in my head, you know, you're talking somewhere between $800 and $8,500. The bids I've got so far on concrete are running like 25. And I haven't got one in on paving yet. That was another option. One of the other agents is checking with a company he knows to see if that's a cheaper option on that. So, anyway, but I really feel like the dog park is more feasible
I
just
feel like it
because
is
of the
too.
trail already being in place. We actually had questioned them, even on the old hardware store back, but it's gotta be something that the public can access, and that was going to be a more for profit, and that's not what they're centered on.
I feel like this is a great idea. I think the dog park is a great idea.
But, anyway, that's what I need, is just, you guys to say that, that you would accept it if the work was done and maintain it afterwards. And I just have to have that to be able to apply.
I think council basically is looking for blessing from the council on that. She's already done the footwork on a lot of this. She just needs an okay from council
So
saying,
we
would you
probably should-
pursue it?
We probably should make a motion and vote on it then. So
Yeah.
I move that we allow Sally to try to get this grant for the dog park.
Will that letter come from you, Lana? Okay, I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second to allow Sally to pursue the grant on the dog park. All those in favor? 4-0. Thank you, Sally.
Thank you.
All right, Lori Dobson was on to ask for a business license for Quilters Haven.
Heaven.
And it's, help me with this, Jamie, would you?
Lori Dodson is a Granby person. She and I had a conversation one day, and it turns out that she would like to put in a quilt shop. Since I currently own one and I will be selling in a few years was my plan, but she was like, I'd love to buy it right now. So she is purchasing my Heavenly Notions and changing the name to Quilters Heaven.
She's an okay on a business license, council.
I'm gonna abstain just because it has.
I'll make a motion that we allow this business license to be granted.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to offer Lori Dobson a business license. All those in favor? 3-0, 1 abstention. All right, new business, bills to pay and balances on hand. Council, you had a chance to look at that? Any questions before we have a motion?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Go ahead.
Imagine that, right? Sorry. What is core and main? And
Water supplies.
just pipes, clamps? What are we talking?
All the above, and some gas stuff too, water meters.
Did we split the cost between whichever was gas or whichever was water? Okay. We have some contract labor. Lana, can you tell me what those are for? The 225, is that Catherine?
She was gone for a while, and so
Okay.
we were paying somebody to step in and take care of that in her absence.
Okay. Is the 1441 at Fast Trip just gas purchases? And then what's Ferguson Enterprises?
Water. Same deal with corn main, I just split.
Okay, okay. And is $993 normal spent at, the hardware store?
Maybe a little higher than normal, but I mean, anything that we need.
Perfect, I'm glad we're buying from them. And so what's the Coons gas measurement, that's you too?
That's our, gas meter.
And we bought new ones, replaced some, what?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And what did we spend $1,200 at Lowe's for? Okay,
There's a Lowe's card.
okay, I know what that, okay, I know that now, thank you. And then, sorry, we have a petty cash fund?
We do.
Okay.
We keep $75 on hand. We pay just minimal bills for like the people that come in and want alcohol and those.
Okay.
Just give them
Okay.
that basic ticket. For washing the patrol cars,
Okay.
anything like that with a minor expense.
Okay, and,
And we do keep all the receipts for those.
thank you. And then filing, organizing, and shredding, we paid someone,
We did.
Who
We
is
had
that?
somebody come down, it was Tristan Alk, it's Carrie's daughter, and she came down and reorganized our downstairs filing system for us. And then while she was here, we had her pick up a few other things that needed done.
can we not do that since that could be considered a conflict of interest?
I know, no, I asked for anybody to come, and Carrie said she would ask Tristan to come do that. It's not something we do on a regular basis, by any stretch of the
Right.
imagination. I just needed somebody to come in and tidy up some stuff that
Okay,
And if you know of anybody who wants to do stuff like that location, I'm happy to call.
I'm gonna have spring break in a couple weeks, so I'll come and help you. Holler at me.
Spring break.
It's perks of working for school, buddy. Oh, I do have another question, sorry. The camera for the chamber, why are we purchasing more camera? It's split between multiple places.
At First National
It's,
Bank.
no, it's on the Lowe's card.
I could probably do a little better than this.
Did we get a different camera?
No,
Instead of,
hold on, let me catch up with you.
Nice.
The Lowe's business card.
Oh, we had, so for the longest time, there was just wiring hanging down over here.
Mhm.
And we had David Putnam come in and rewire it so that it's,
Not dangling.
Perfect.
yeah, not dangling over there, and I have a switch over here instead.
Okay, that's what I was curious about. Thank you for your answer.
Any other questions, council?
I'm done.
I'd entertain a motion to accept the bills.
Make a motion, we accept bills, balances on the end.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second to pay the bills and accept the balances on hand. All those in favor? 4-0. Thank you. Department head reports.
I know Joe's not here at this moment, but does anybody know what, under the recycle department, number 3, regional manager for Marriott Hotels made a stop? Does anybody know what that means? Okay, I can ask when he comes in later, yeah.
Hey, how'd that new salt spreader work for you, Jim?
Wonderful. We've had to use it too much.
I know, yeah.
No, we got a good one.
Hey, I do have one question for you, Jim. On all of your work orders, your repair orders, you have all 3 of your staff members listed as working those. Are they always all 3 together?
On water leaks and stuff, normally, yeah. Not always, a lot of times Dave's not with them, but if they're having to haul stuff off and everything.
Okay, because I just figured you just got pencil happy and just wrote his initials on every one of them. Is that right?
No, it's when you got one person in the hole, one person chasing parts, and one on the backhoe.
Okay, okay, fair enough.
Any other questions, council?
Do you guys have a schedule of, when you're gonna lift up any of the manholes that are below grade? Cause I was thinking that was something that was ordered recently,
It'll be with paving, yeah.
so you guys didn't order manhole bibs?
No.
We'll redo the same lid.
Yeah.
Not lids, bibs. For some reason, I thought I saw that recently on a purchase. Am I mistaken?
No, I mean,
Okay.
I said, we just always did it with paving.
Whenever they pave a street that you have to raise, you get it then. Was there any lids or manholes that covered that were recessed in the pavement right now? Are they all been brought up?
Well, if we've got some low ones, we'll try to get a list of that. We get them brought up.
I think the EPA gave you guys a list, didn't they? There was a list of them. That was one of the things that the EPA stated that we needed to be working on over the last 4 years, correct?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, not that,
I'm pretty sure Algar Martin mentioned that at one of the meetings. And then I asked you, and you said you guys lifted one of them. You worked on one of them
like I said, when we.
on Church Street.
We done, the paving on Hamilton Street, there's several of them, but McKinley Street, or Bacon, they were there.
What's the determination to make sure, to know that they need to be raised?
If they're low enough to hold water, to take on water, to pool water.
Which is some of our infiltration issue, correct?
No, not very much. The manholes don't have holes in them, or pig holes, like a lot of the older towns. Ours don't have those.
So they'll hold the water
Yeah.
instead?
Yeah,
Okay.
those are-
Do we know how many there are?
No, I'd have to look, we had a manhole report, but we would have to look at it and see.
So do citizens need to report those, or would that
Yeah,
help?
if there's some that are causing some issues.
Okay.
Was there any reports, was there any reports in the smoke testing that would suggest that there was places like that were,
Yes.
that would needed to be something done
Yeah,
with?
most of them are on private property. There's some service cleanouts that caps are missing. So we're gonna start on that, replacing those. And instead of trying to get the homeowner to do it, I think city, we just go in there. It's not very expensive. We just go in there and repair it, with the homeowner's approval.
What's the repair cost to raise those up? What would that cost us?
To raise,
The manholes, sorry, back to that.
I'd have to get prices on the risers and cement or asphalt back around.
Okay. Can we get that so we can
Did-
kind of know what we're gonna be working against?
Did we feel like, according to the testing, that there was a problem at the manhole, or was a problem somewhere else?
we just
Or do
didn't
we
find
know?
anything significant, no.
They didn't really
Okay.
find any problems.
All right.
We didn't find that big smoking gun that you would,
We thought we would find some real major holes.
that we've just looked at a fraction of the overall system.
Okay.
Not so much thought we would find, but hoping we would find.
Any other questions, council?
Yeah. Hey, Officer Rico, on your report says you had 20 animal calls. Are these being addressed and handled other than Facebook?
They are now. I can't speak for a few weeks ago, yes, we're going to all animal calls come in now.
Are we getting things taken care of, or just,
They, if they're there, we can locate where dogs belong at that time, yes. So there's times we get a call, we get there, there's no dogs to be seen, no pictures, we don't know where they belong. But as a rule, if we get there, the dogs are out, then we discuss with the owners. If they have, the dogs aren't being aggressive, they're told, they're given a warning the
Okay.
first time. Afterwards, they are cited. I think we've got, I believe, 5 animal citations from the city attorney at this time.
And now most of the dogs that we're being retained in have a good place and have open, we have open.
So you can take them and,
Yes.
okay, great,
We're down to, I believe, 3 dogs in the town right now.
Yeah,
nice,
Which is the low since I've been here.
yeah.
nice.
Also, the feed store has donated any open bags they get off food to donate to the town.
Nice,
That's awesome.
nice,
That helps a bunch.
yeah.
What's the process for picking up a dog off the street and bringing him to the dog pound?
Depending on the situation, if the dog will come up to us, then we put him in the car and take him. If not, we usually call Catherine, and Catherine will come out, and she's the dog whisperer, so she does whatever sweet talking she does, and they seem to come up to her where they run from me. I don't know if it's
Probably.
I've seen her do it.
So are we, I mean, cause we've heard complaints, we've had people come in here and talk about this. The families that have more than the dog's animal ratio that is allowed in our ordinances, how are we handling any of that,
If we get it reported to us, we can go check. I mean, without a search warrant, we can't go in and look for their dogs.
right?
So.
But can you ask if they have their city license?
Yes, absolutely. Now, that's not something I've been called at since I took over as owner. I've not been asked about, or I've not been called by any dogs that are abundance or an overnumber. So, yeah, as the calls come in, they'll be handled accordingly, and we will ask for license. If they have an aggressive dog, we'll ask for whatever licenses that are supposed to be in place at that time. If they can't provide them, and we know that they've got the animals, then we'll go from there.
Either insist that they come down and get their license and take part care of, or,
Absolutely. If they don't, we will end up taking their dogs.
okay,
So I have something that I was gonna propose to Tim later, about, I didn't know what our process was on people actually registering their animals and things like that, and who has already been registered. But in Exeter, we used to call them and ask them to come down and register their animal if they've already done that before.
well, I've kind of looked at the ordinances, and they say that you have to do it and renew them every year.
Yeah.
So, can
So
we
I
just,
just think that I was gonna try to work out something with Refill where we could maybe just check those, maybe have some kind of program to check those or something.
Who's got those
and
records?
put Catherine in with us on that too, so.
We sell the city tags here in City Hall.
okay,
In the past, we have had the rabies clinics, and then that was an opportunity for people to come get their dog tags as
Okay.
well. We no longer do the rabies clinics, the veterinarian that was hosting those does not do that.
I visited with Catherine about that, and she said that she's looking for someone else to bring that back to her.
We might be able to get that done. Officer Brenner has a family member that is a veterinarian who is volunteering quite a bit of time to us. And he said anything we need, he'd take care of.
And we could set up a booth to get people registered.
That'd be fantastic.
That's what we did before.
So can we start working on that?
Absolutely. I'll make a phone call tomorrow to him. He's already done one service for us for free, and that was a rabies investigation, so.
Perfect. All right,
You're basically saying that all the dogs in town basically are supposed to be registered every year?
Yes.
Come down and fill out an some kind of a form or something every year? Anybody that has a dog?
Yes.
Okay.
is it cats too?
We do have a tag for felines, rarely do people
I'm
have
out of
their
compliance.
cats, but we do
Wow.
have.
Okay,
See, that way if that dog's picked up, we can take the number off of it and find the owner.
exactly.
Plus, the same way with the rabies tag, we have called the vets before and found out who the owner was.
And that's why I'd like to make sure we get that going, because there's so many running around and have so many complaints, and if we can clean something up like that, simple, and let the town people know that we actually do something here, it'd be nice.
So the 2 large dogs we were getting complaints on a few weeks ago, they have been cited.
Okay, all right, thanks.
So then basically when you say they've been cited, I mean, then it's up to the judge to
Yes.
do whatever he needs to do.
Yes, now, and if the dogs start running free again or acting aggressive again in between now and then, they've already been cited and warned, so the dogs will be taken to the pound and they will have to pay a fee.
So I make a motion that we approve the department heads that we've received.
Second.
Reports, sorry.
Got a motion and a second to, approve the department head reports. All those in favor? 4-0. Number 3 item is the ordinance 893 in reference to the franchise agreement with GTC.
And that has been posted. Here's maybe that one.
Yes.
Bill number 893, an ordinance granting a non-exclusive franchise to Granby Telephone Company, its successors and assigns to construct, operate, and maintain a telecommunications system in Granby, Missouri, and setting forth conditions accompanying the grant of the franchise, and providing for regulation and use of the telecommunication system.
I'll make a motion that we move to accept bill number 893 on the first reading by number and title only after having posted publicly for 10 days.
Second.
Motion and a second to accept Bill 893 as read. We have to read it again. All is in favor? 4-0. All right. Rico?
Okay.
In reference to self-defense training classes, neighborhood watch. Go ahead.
Been thinking about doing self-defense classes for free for the women of Granby. Actually, they've got to be a citizen of Granby to get the free classes. I'll supply a self-defense tool. It's called a Kubaton. I'll be purchasing that out of my own pocket. I've done self-defense classes for years. I teach the cadets at Crowder College. I have my own mixed martial arts gym. Background-wise, I'm a certified instructor in multiple different forms of martial arts. So the main question is if the council be okay with me using the large building or the large side of the PD, which the possible future city hall room, until that is changed over. At that point, we could probably transfer them over to the community building. So like I say, it'd be a free class, wouldn't cost the city anything, wouldn't cost the citizens anything, and I'd volunteer my time to teach it.
Council?
Is it just a one-time class, or
Oh, no,
will you?
once a month.
Once a month?
Yes.
We'll learn how to,
If you're really a glutton for punishment, we could do it twice a month.
That's a no.
if you're really a punishment.
Just to let any ladies know that might be interested, I am not gonna be the dummy who don't get the punishment.
Is it only for women who live in Granby, or is?
I would, depending on how many people we have, that sign up for it, I mean, obviously I can't have 50 people because no one will learn anything. The usual number is between 15 and 20. I like to keep it even. But if there's somebody from outside of Granby and we're not completely filled up, then I would welcome like somebody had a daughter or a cousin or something that wants to come with them. I have no problem with the buddy system.
Well, I was gonna mention some female realtors.
I don't know what the realtor is, but.
That's a great idea, because they go into houses by themselves, yeah.
Yeah, we're always on the lookout for defense courses and stuff.
Yeah, and if it be necessary, if we run into too many that show up the citizens of Granby, and you want to set something up for realtors, or if you're just a special group, I have no problem with doing that. I used to do that at my mixed martial arts club. I also taught children, it's not necessarily self-defense, but what to do if they're in the process of being abducted, ways to get out of it, and the noises you make, and all that. But yeah, I could get all that stuff for free, and that's what I'd like to continue doing. It's fun for me because I get to watch you guys swim.
What is the expected cost of the batons that you were talking about purchasing?
Oh, they're gonna cost me $100, but it's not a big deal.
$100 for several?
100. And what it would be is anybody that comes to the class would receive one. If they lose it, the next one's out of their pocket. But if you buy them in bulk, if you buy them by themselves, they're $10 a piece. But I found a wholesale website that I can get 100 of them for. You don't get all the pretty colors. It's either silver or gold, because they come in pink and camouflage and all kinds of stuff. If you're not familiar with the Kubaton, it's not much longer than an ink pen, maybe pretty close, a little bit bigger around. It's got 3 little ridges, and that's for grip. They are aluminum most of the time. They have a keychain hooked onto them, and the point is about like an ink pen, and it's for just teaching pressure points and how to stop an assailant. Fairly invisible if they're walking to the car at night, or even in the daytime. They've got it in their hand. Keys are dangling. It's right here, so see element of surprise. You strike with it, and if you strike in the right places, it usually stops them in their tracks. It's not for stopping them in their tracks and then beating the crap out of them because they made you mad. It's just to stop them and then you get away.
Well, I appreciate you doing that, Rico. That's beneficial to town. Council, there's a few items here. This, the black vehicle that we thought was gonna be a tremendous amount, but it turned out to be just $400, so we fixed it.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is a great
running
opportunity.
great, and I have switched over to where I'm using
And
that as the
just
chief
so the
vehicle.
council knows, that black car that was sitting back there in the back doing nothing now is on the road again.
Can I add the gray car that's parked out back right now? I just got the keys back and it's up and running, so we have 4 running vehicles. for the
Okay, well,
police
see,
department.
that was a benefit. Those just kinda sat back there and done nothing.
I do need batteries for the Explorer and the gray car. I can't remember what the gray
Well,
car
now
is.
here
I'm
you
sorry.
go.
See, trying to spend more money. The Durango and the black car both have batteries. They're good to go, but the other 2 will need batteries, otherwise we're gonna be jump starting them every time.
Okay, and then the last thing on that of your presentation was the neighborhood watch. Go ahead.
Be another program. When I was working for the sheriff's department, we had neighborhood watch that Richard Blevins, he was lieutenant at the time, he would go to different areas similar to Granby and put on just a presentation of how the benefits of neighborhood watch. Once they were good with it, then he'd go once a month and have the neighborhood watch meetings. You select different squadrons, different areas of town to where there are, like in Granby, there'd probably be four different sections, and you'd have a president of that section of the neighborhood watch. People would come to them with their issues. There would also be the phone number to the police department, obviously for the signs would be an expense eventually, but as neighborhood watch sign with the police department number on it. And there would be instruction on what to do if they've seen a crime committed. Obviously, we don't. There's a movie called The Watch, and these guys are kind of nuts. They go out and try to fight the crime themselves. We don't want that. If you get a chance, it's funny. But what we want is just for the public to understand that, for one, we don't want them getting hurt to take care of it themselves, but to keep their eyes, because without the public, there's only so many of us to be able to keep an eye on the town. Everyone knows that if a police car drives by and a criminal sees them, they know they're gonna be able to make it back by for a little bit. That's the time to commit the crime. So if we have extra eyes on the city, they can contact us. Hey, we just saw you drive by, and now John Doe is in somebody's backyard or peeking in their windows. Gives us just extra, like I say, extra sets of eyes.
What are we looking for here, council? Basically just an okay or a blessing on Rico to pursue these 2 different items, neighborhood watch and the self-defense classes. Is that what we're looking for here?
I'm not real comfortable with Rico having to pay for those batons himself.
Yeah.
And I
feel
don't think
like-
he needs to.
I taught for years, and we spent a lot of money out of our pockets. I would like, I mean, if you're volunteering to do the program, I would like to see this council at least offer to purchase
Agreed.
those batons for our citizens.
So then I can turn around and sell them for $10 a piece, right?
Not exactly what we.
There's a catch to everything.
I
Pay
guess
the
if we
100
lose the
back.
first one, maybe it makes the money back for us.
But you could also add that to your motion.
I'd like to make the motion that we do allow Rico to pursue the neighborhood watch and the self-defense training classes with our council approving the purchase of 100 of those batons, not to exceed the cost of $120.
Second.
Got a motion second to allow Rico to pursue the neighborhood watch and the self-defense classes, adding the price of the, whatever they were called, batons?
Kubaton.
Kubatons, not to exceed $120. All those in favor?
Well-
Thank you, Rico.
Yeah, hold on a
Also, I'd like to
second.
add that, yes, sir.
What about the batteries? Like what? We didn't talk about that.
Well, we don't have a price on them, do we?
I purchased one for the black car a few days ago, and it was, I believe it was $110 for the battery.
That's really just maintenance that you needed
Yeah.
to keep and.
Okay,
Yeah, I
okay.
need this.
All right.
And we brought business back to Granby as far as the vehicle stuff. We're dealing with the hardware store again.
I noticed on your report, it says you guys are gonna be eating here in town too. I like that, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Rico. Thank you now.
Thanks, Rico.
All right.
So,
Um,
number 7.
Mowing bids.
Karen Wheeler's, she's not here, but the mowing bids and contract, you have them in here. Which is, Miner's Lawn Service. I'm not mistaken, Alana, this is the only one that we, have received?
Yes. And this is the bid that Karen brought to me, that their board had approved.
Their board approved it. Hi,
Any
Jason.
questions for our friend here at Miner's Lawn?
No, but he's local, so that's good. I mean, we're paying a Granby citizen
Yeah.
to,
Whereabouts you live, Jason?
I live on Hebron Road.
Okay. Do you have to work on your own equipment?
Yes, I do. I'm actually certified to work on small engines, so it works out that way.
do you work on other people's too?
I used to, but I'm
Asking
thinking
for a
about
friend?
later.
Yeah. Weed eaters? Anywhere?
Possibly.
Just kidding.
Have they talked to you about any of their complaints about the last company?
Yes, they did,
They did?
in detail, and
So you got it?
I've got it.
Okay.
The cemetery becomes very public,
Mhm.
especially during certain times of the year.
Memorial Day especially.
Yeah, there's a few times it comes very public.
Mhm.
And, you know, the council will catch the blunt if it doesn't look very good.
Mhm.
And so, we appreciate you offering to do this.
Yeah, it's not a problem. It's like, if you guys have any complaints or anything like that, before it reaches Facebook, get a hold of me first so I can make it right.
Oh, we will.
That just makes sense.
Well,
You know, I would like the
appreciate that.
opportunity to fix
Yeah.
it if something's wrong before it just gets out there.
Well, we can't control that, sadly,
know.
but, yeah. When the cemetery committee has an issue, I'm sure they'll come to you.
No, for sure. Everybody knows where I'm at.
I have recommended his business before, and his customers, I have recommended him to have given me good feedback. That's just an outside, just saying.
Council does need to know that the income, or the tax that comes in through the cemetery does not cover this, the entirety of this contract. So the bulk of, or the part of the contract will have to be paid out of our general fund.
Which is how we've always done it.
And it's okay to do that.
Another hit on the general fund,
Yes.
just so everybody's aware, but yes.
I just wanted everybody to know this. There's no other ways. Now, I do want to explain, Lana, that we used to share parts of the, was it the gravesite sales?
Sales of the lots, yes.
And at this point, we haven't received anything from the cemetery committee.
Right. They
It's
had
just an
discussed
FYI.
that a few years ago.
They just stopped giving us that, which was helping on this part.
Was it in the budget? I mean, like, is this,
We budget excess for the mowing every year.
okay. Didn't remember.
I think this is beyond what we budgeted for.
Do you remember?
I was thinking it was too less than that, but I don't know.
I mean, do we know an amount?
Look here.
Yeah,
It's
it's
right
Is it, Brian?
It's in there.
It's on this one, Gabe.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Yeah, I thought it was too less.
Well, I
than
mean,
that.
like the amount that the cemetery
Oh,
fund will
What does
pay.
the cemetery bring in through the tax, Lana?
we have, right here, it'd be on this.
Okay, don't mind me.
Cemetery.
I like the presentation, what you brought to the table, Jason, quite a bit. And I do believe that probably you have the interest of Granby at heart.
Oh, yeah.
And I can appreciate that.
So just about 8,000.
That's the income, right?
Right
Yeah,
around 8,000.
that's gross profit.
If we get somebody's taxes next year, year this year.
Did you hear that?
I
Gabe?
didn't hear, sorry.
Just around 8,000 is what we get from
Yeah.
taxes, and then whenever there's a burial, we get $100 per burial. Total income, I show total income is $13,001. The city does not take any of that except electricity. And then, yeah, balance is so bad, unfortunately, for our general fund.
Well, it needs to be done, and
Yeah,
we have
it
a
does,
contractor
yeah.
in front of us.
You,
Yep.
you know, and like I said, that's a hot issue for,
It is.
yeah, people that have people buried in our cemetery, man, they look at that as their own yard.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And I can understand that.
Yes.
So they budgeted 14.6, that's what they budgeted. Not that bad.
No.
I came up with 14.6.
Okay. Do we wanna, let, this company do the mowing this year?
Yeah,
If-
we need to make a
if
motion
there's-
for that.
we make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we allow Miners Lawn Service to be our cemetery mower for the season.
Second.
Motion and second to let Miners Lawn Service do the mowing to the cemetery at, according to contract, $18,200. All those in favor? 4-0. Yeah, we'll have to pass resolution. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
There's a resolution on the contract.
You ready for me, Mayor?
Yes.
A resolution of the City of Granby, Missouri authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of Granby and Miners Lawn Service. Whereas Ira Hawkins is duly elected mayor on April 6, 2021, and whereas the Board of Aldermen feel it is sound business practice to have a resolution granting authority to Mayor Ira Hawkins to sign this agreement on behalf of the City of Granby. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Granby that Ira Hawkins, as mayor, is authorized to sign on behalf of the City of Granby an agreement between the City of Granby and Miners Lawn Service of the City of Granby, Missouri. All other resolutions in conflict herewith is I repeal.
Entertain a motion?
I make a motion that we accept this resolution as stated from Lana.
Second.
I have a motion and second to put the resolution into effect for the mowing agreement, allowing the mayor to enter into a contract. Those in favor? 4-0. All right. Discussion on the department head reports.
That's me again.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Noreen.
Some things have been come to light about the vehicles in our department. We found that there have been trips that are being made outside of city limits during work time, and so I'm gonna request that we include on our department heads' reports miles driven, gas purchased, how many trips that are made outside of city limits and the reasons why. And also the maintenance vehicles, or the vehicles that need maintenance, and we want reports on that as far as, that's why we don't have a car sitting over there for a year with nothing done to it, because nobody took the time to get it fixed. We need to have our equipment operational. If it's not working and it needs repaired, we need to know this.
I do think in reference to the cars, police cars, I think there was an assumption that they were
Right.
more expensive than they were.
So if they're
but
on
it
a
turned
department
out-
head
right,
report,
but they turned
we will
out not
know.
to be.
Yes. So that just kinda got left over there and they forgot about it. So if it's requested to be written on our department head reports, we'll have an idea of what's going on. So they can do a vehicle check, a maintenance check before a meeting, or before they finish and turn in their department head reports, and have that included in their paperwork.
The department heads are here. Guys, do you have any questions at all? Anything?
My vehicle in city limits all the time.
Well, for fires, yeah,
Yeah, I've got East Newton's line.
right.
But, mine goes, if I have to go to Central for something,
Mhm.
I might pick up something to eat around noon.
Right.
I meant, if I'm going to the air show, it is on some type of fire business.
Okay.
I might stop and eat while I'm over there.
Oh, we know you do, because people tell us stuff all the time.
Doreen, are
Yes.
you wanting them to write the odometer reading of the beginning, the odometer reading of the end, and then how many total? Is that what you're asking for that
That'd
to show
work,
up?
I'd be fine with that.
Just curious.
Probably a triple log. There's probably a triple log that you can put in your, on a clipboard or something.
And also, one more thing, what's our policy of having non-city employees in our city vehicles?
Oh.
It can't be a good insurance.
What is the liabilities on that? Lana, is our insurance,
I'll have to check. I don't know that it has to or takes from the liability of the city. I think
Unless there's an
have
accident.
the seatbelt requirement.
Can you give us an example of when it would be needed?
Yeah, when would it be needed?
What are we referring to?
And I'll tell you because somebody told me, why is there a city truck on a Sunday with a city employee and another citizen at Ramey's on a Sunday afternoon? I couldn't answer that question.
I'm not sure, I know what you're referring to.
It was one of the city trucks, that's what I was told. A white city truck was at the grocery store on Sunday afternoon with a city employee and a passenger.
I don't know that. Is that utility, would that be your department, Jim? Is it
No,
dirt?
not mine.
Is it
What was it?
Victor's?
It could have been one of ours. I should say if it was mine, I didn't know about it, yeah.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying, this is the kind of stuff that we gotta keep on top of. If you're gonna let them keep the vehicle for the weekend, that's what I'm saying.
They come and get it. My truck's the only one that's not.
Parked on, yeah.
Because I know we had a call out on Sunday, and I think Lance had his son with him, just.
It was a female
That might have been
occupant,
it.
so,
So I don't-
female.
yeah. So I'm just saying, that's something we really need to get on
Once
top
in
of.
a while, there could
Take care of
be a
business.
Sunday emergency.
At the
Okay.
grocery store?
Well, what I mean is, on the way home, I don't know.
I'm just saying, yeah. I just feel like we just need to be held accountable for the vehicles that we have out on the road.
I'll check into the liability of that.
Okay, thank you.
Generally, I guess that would not happen. Am I misspeaking here? Generally, there's not a rider.
With the police department, we do have a ride-along program, but they have to sign a waiver.
Do a background check.
Yeah, it has to be approved, and they have to sign a waiver. So
So-
it won't be just cousin Joe jumping in, going for a joyride.
Do they gotta ride back where the dogs have been?
This is against the law, isn't it?
So I guess basically just know that this council frowns upon that occurring, and we'll figure out the liability in the future. Thank you.
But I'd like to make a motion that we have those items that I've listed included on the department head reports.
So specifically, it was miles driven,
Yep.
gas purchased, when it left town, why?
Yeah,
Was there one more?
maintenance reports.
Maintenance reports.
Do we have one or two places that does most of the maintenance work on our vehicles, or do some of it ourselves during our off times, not off times, I guess, rainy days or that type of thing? Do we do any of that maintenance ourselves, Jim?
We do all of our own that we possibly can.
If it's beyond that, doesn't it go to somebody local? Does it go to all around, or Jackson,
Tim
or
Murphy.
Tim.
What?
The chief. It goes to the chief.
Goes to the chief?
Yeah.
Oh, pardon me, Sally?
I just got to wonder, I know sales tax has become such a big issue, because we need it. It's like, do the city trucks and everybody that uses like regular fuel, not diesel, because we don't have diesel in town, do they purchase it here locally?
Yeah, all of our vehicles are filled up with that.
Unless you're at a conference or something.
Right.
I think so.
Well,
Here you go.
I know there may be some times that like, when they're pulling trailers, possibly there's gas purchased in Stella for recycle.
In general.
Generally, yeah, most all of it, unless you was out of gas when you was out of town, most of it is purchased in town, which the city usually purchases in town.
Okay, I will make the motion that we add to the department head reports, miles driven, gas purchased, left town and why, a maintenance report to all reports, including all vehicles utilized by that department.
We've got a motion on the table.
I'll second.
Motion and second to basically add miles, maintenance to the vehicles. The things that Jamie had brought onto the motion to the floor. Those in favor? 4-0. All right. Victor?
Hmm?
Talking to myself, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I got issues.
At least you can admit it.
What you got, Victor?
Well, I guess start with purchase request. I had one request on there, but need to add a couple more. I've had a couple other failures. But the first one is for a motor for our motive pump. We've got 2 motive pumps. They're big pumps down in the wastewater plant there, but one of the motors had burned up. I've gotten 2 quotes. One from Independent Electric, which is the lowest bid, was $5,600. And I got another one from Fluid Equipment, which was $6,700. So of course, go with that cheaper one. These motors are 6 months out, so it takes a long time to get them. I probably need to add a little bit of freight on that, so I was looking at about $6,000 for that motor, and that'll be a spare motor. We just had to put our spare into service when the other one failed. So.
Do you have room in your repair budget?
Yes.
Council, you want to take that first?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to let Victor purchase this motor for $6,000. Second.
A motion and a second to make that purchase of the motor for $6,000 to put back for a spare. Go ahead.
All these.
All in favor? 4-0. Thank you, guys.
The other thing, we had a pump go out down here on McKinley Street, one of our little grinder stations. We had a spare, so we put it in, and needing to get another backup. I found that these pumps have doubled in price just in the last 2 years, so I've gotten some other pricing. This one company, USA Blue Book, was always my cheapest alternative, but they had doubled in price. So I found this other one, Innovative Pump Solutions out of Springfield, and for $2,700 I can get the pump, control panel, everything I need to really have a whole new pump station down there, which is what we need. The other company was $4,300 for the same thing, so really good savings. And this is one of the pumps I looked at one of our conventions that should hold up better. In our sewer system, we've got a lot of trash, baby wipes, and they just stop these pumps up. Well, this new pump is supposed to overcome that baby wipe situation we have. It just clogs those pumps up. We're all the time having to come out after hours and pull those pumps and clean them out. So hopefully these higher torque pumps will help eliminate that cause.
Do you think that it might help to get the citizens to more aware of those kind of things that might be affecting?
You can try, but
I'm just
I know,
wondering
yeah.
if we were to put
I think we could always
public
try.
notices
yeah,
out.
I mean, you can
again.
try.
Okay.
Even though, the bad thing is it says flushable, but yeah, you can flush a lot of things. I found it in a sewer, and you probably shouldn't flush it.
You'll find it sooner or
Talk about
later.
what
Yeah,
you've
it should
seen.
flush it. But I'd like to get that set up from Innovative Pump Solutions for $2,700.
Is that including your freight?
No freight, so.
Okay.
That pump will go up three different grams.
I think 4, yeah, yeah, and that's as they go out over time on whatnot. If these pumps show to be as good as their claim, we'll be changing out, going to these different style pumps is what I'd like to do, so.
I make the motion that we write a check for Victor to purchase the pump from Innovative Pump Solutions for $2,700.
Second.
Motion and second for Victor to go ahead and purchase this pump from Innovative, you say Innovative Pump,
Yeah, Innovative Pump Solutions.
2,700 plus freight. All those in favor?
No
No
freight.
freight.
No freight?
No freight.
Okay. 4-0.
And then the other thing we've got is, I was needing to have a service truck come out to pull one of the floating aerators we have in one of our basins. Requires a crane just to get it pulled out of there and put back in. And the only company I was able to get to even respond back was Fluid Equipment. And that was for $3,200 to pull that, then take the motor into their shop, see what's wrong with it, whether it can be rebuilt or needs to be replaced, and then reinstall it and start it up. So that would be Fluid Equipment for $3,200.
That's just to pull it and
That's
put it
just
back in.
Pull it out, put it in, and assess what the damage is to it, if any.
Does that include repairing it?
No, no.
What would it cost to repair it? Do you have any ballpark figure?
It's been about 5 or 6 years ago, and I can't remember offhand. Seems like around 5,000.
And that's not anything you have a spare of.
No, correct. So right now, it'd just be getting it out of there and seeing what's wrong with it. And then that cost would be to put it back in too.
What did you say? that company
Fluid
was?
Equipment for $3,200.
How long do those normally last?
It's in a real rough, I don't think it was really even designed to mix sludge is what it's doing. I think it was really meant to do raw wastewater. It seems like about 5 years on that, 5 to 7 years.
And it's at the 5-year mark?
Yeah, I think it's right at about the 5-year mark.
Is it better to purchase one and have them
It
put a
could-
new one in and just have that as a spare? Like what's the?
Well, if it can be rebuilt, we'll rebuild it. And like I said, I don't know what's wrong with it until we get it out of there. It could be just wrapped up with trash and stopping it from wanting to run, so.
Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to
Yeah,
understand.
no, I know.
Just processing.
But the 3,200 basically is pulling it out, putting it in.
Correct, yep.
Will this shut down the equipment for a while, or is it?
We've got another, I mean, it won't affect treatment or anything. This is kind of the end sludge treatment, so it won't cause any problem.
Okay. Oh, I make a motion that we allow Victor to go with Fluid Equipment and purchase the, get the parts removed and replaced for $3,200.
Second.
A motion in a second to allow Victor to have this, is it pump?
It'd pull it's a aerator, floating
Aerator
aerator.
to be pulled and replaced at the cost of 3,200. All those in favor? 4-0.
You're not done?
I think that was it, 3.
Oh.
Unless you got any more
Well, you were
questions.
looking like, okay. I got it.
Council, if I've done the math, we just spent
Right about 12,000.
About $12,000 on wastewater. I want to encourage us to consider this, the 2% increase in your rates.
Yeah, that's
because of the price of equipment.
Everything just in the last 2 years have doubled in price, and it's just crazy. I couldn't believe when I was getting pricing how everything has doubled, almost doubled in 2 years. So
There is a small thing on funding for the wastewater. Just explain, we are obviously the bids came in higher than what our bond was. And
Well,
so-
higher than the estimate.
Estimate.
Than the
So
construction estimate.
we're, all those parties involved are searching for either another opportunity, more money.
More grants,
Grants.
hopefully, USDA.
So there's not a load on the citizens. And
Correct.
then, or scale back some on
The project.
but whatever. I've got a meeting tomorrow, I guess, to talk about this. We'll have more information on this for the council, next meeting. All right, Victor. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Victor.
I would entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I make a motion, we go into closed session at 7:04.
Second?
Oh, in accordance with RSMO 610.021, addressing personnel matters.
Second.
I've got a motion, second. Roll call, please.
Cory Cloud?
Yes.
I'm sorry. David Triple?
Yes.
Jamie Conway?
Yes.
Dave Carroll?
Yes.
Going to closed session at 7:04.
I was lost for a second.
Joe's gonna come back, but, we're gonna go to closed session, he's supposed to be here when we come back, but. Just keep us updated. I certainly will, watch the video. Yeah, I told Joe, you guys, he's like, we're gonna try it, recycle whatever. Well, if you're gonna do your two setup, you're gonna have to get with that, which is fair, he's gonna set up, which I need this. Pop-up shops, which will probably benefit you there, unless you're in the food truck type. So figure out how you wanna do that, But definitely.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, me too.
So are you holding a meeting tomorrow? They don't want the people. Well, they don't know either. Just get it to go. Well, they just want to go, you start a little bit earlier. 7 o'clock. Wait. Yeah, what happens is that they're gonna go ahead and ski, walk, or whatever, to go ahead and hold another meeting because essentially they screwed around for 3 years. Really now, it's 1.8 million.
Murph, you're gonna have to get your electronic logs in all your trucks now, so you can keep track of them. Well, exactly, they're gonna have to specify, I think. They're gonna cheat on me, right? It's just like a truck driver, the old paper logs.
Well, you know, the thing about it is tax purposes, if you want to use your money.
Per person.
Hold on. If you want to use your
Fire trucks, so how are you gonna go off of dominators?
I don't think they mean by the fire trucks on the call. I think it's, it's just for the, like, city trucks. I would think they could be exempt from it anyway.
Well, guess what? It'll probably
I
be
mean,
my
like I said, if I'm in town,
you'll make sure it's not.
I'm sure.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
they want to.
You're on your lunch hour.
So much.
Yeah.
Pretty well, you go here and count what we already got. And bring it home to, and then 11 million more.
They're easy to do,
You got
just
to, of
Tuesday
course,
morning.
get rid of.
Start and you're in, but
They
then if
screw
you're
around,
out of
they
town,
screw
you have to
around
go there.
more, 3 years, twice. So since we're talking about probably as high as 25 to 40, we talk, and it's pretty well where I'm trying to. Well, hey, and I, hold on, let me, and after,
So she did make a step to fix it.
Well, we just have to have her on that. See, I know Victor needs another run.
no,
Yeah, I think those Rottweiler out there, trained ones. Yeah, I guess it looks like.
you got the little bloomers, we got the little bloomers.
Oh, yeah.
About the way teachers show up. Other than, I'm pretty well.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Well, I think that's when they show up, but I don't expect, I can get some more crap.
Mountain storm and stuff after we bring that place in.
Anyway, a vote don't really matter, what happens, most of them
To see.
bad, acting as city council clerk.
This is good enough. You're going.
I was in that.
You got family over there?
But it should look, at least look like.
Cold out there. I know it. Jeez. I've been about half.
I was handing you this, that really good stuff.
What happens is, for example, we put in cameras, and they were going to split. Now, they put it on here. About 20 years ago. It's just simple as.
On the way in here.
Well, they're not going to, no. What they do is, they do this. See, that's why
I rebuilt it once.
my boy had started.
No, it was worth it. I started back. Yeah, it was in the sliding pane.
He's waiting on you.
You missed your appointment.
In order to grant, you don't have
Just in case. Back there.
And the grants only go to 5,000, we've got a break.
Yeah, you got 70.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, see, that's what they're doing. You don't let me call.
I go.
All they do.
Well, yesterday, I went in,
Good, good.
That's kind of what we're at, like I said, you know, we get this, I'll be with you saying, help me get this ready, I'm getting over here. Basically, you just gave me a
there's not too much, I'm not around these cities, I'm not, no, I'm not around these cities council. There will be no overnight. All right, it's right, I'm here now.
Yeah, it's not as big as our others. Yeah. Well, we put it down on the car park.
I want to go ahead and talk about.
Yeah. That's right.
That's true.
I can look at that and then deal for the, yeah.
So, really all I was looking at was fencing.
And I don't think it goes very much. Yeah.
Someone asked me, if I agree with watering, and I'm like, I don't know.
If we do that, we
I
need
said,
to
but you
have
gotta
one
realize.
Well, I'm trying to avoid.
I said, you know, this is
You're
like the
essentially
dog
the
house
same
where
thing
dogs are
that
there.
they have in
Just
Bedford
like
County.
we have the dogs sitting out there off the road.
What we did is,
I wasn't.
take the board.
Faulty fire, I remember every.
Drop the the council approvals, those are the ones that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Behind it, nobody published it, printed out, and you're ready.
We talked about it when we first got that problem.
I think it's a perfect spot, it's just sitting there like the
Well,
ground.
it, on the hill, it's way much.
And just put a building that's sort of bathrooms.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my
And
idea.
that,
Like I said, the Jeep.
Elder County, your thought was in the Everything's new, and Bobby ain't one of them that has to have like a 300-degree shower, does she? It's not good. On demand. So that should be, for like the old style water heaters. But when people want them too hot too, they'll cook the water in because they break the water in. But that's not gonna do that. Yeah,
Better on the equipment.
but you don't know when you're clean. You go to the hotel, you take a shower, I'll rinse it, and I leave those like hairs falling out, 'cause I've scrubbed it, trying to get rinse it. I got soap on me. I hate it. Well, and his hardness level to come back harder than what it actually is. I just can't figure it out.
Well, there was two mains there, the guys got in.
They said that's pretty Yeah, I think if it, that's what I asked myself, did you remember that? Cause I looked down there when they hooked it up, I knew I had a leak on that 2 inch. You know what's on that other one?
You know, there's been that left.
I can't remember.
I was gonna ask you.
You have the story, too.
It could be Jeremy told me that. He said that is nothing but.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I'll see about the water filter.
So we're gonna have to dig it up and.
I need to bring my label.
And the pressure, these are, you know, the same, you know, even if it's on it.
Well, I hate to be messy with it. I mean, it's gonna keep it.
But I think you guys have to wait to just do work out. We get, you know, I don't wanna go down there and dig it up like, in the rain tomorrow, so we'll just get down there. So, but I still think that's what we're talking about. Them cocksuckers hooked it up to the steel line.
You're over there whining.
Which is-
You're the one.
How's it down there, 70s? Yeah, but it comes off of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who lived in the street, the first house in the neighborhood? Which one? No.
Which end?
Down where we're at.
Oh, yeah. Which end are you talking about? Oh, Del Mar?
Yeah.
He just lives there.
But, like RL now. I think it's 7.
Dale's house.
He's complaining because I'm telling him not to.
When was Dale's house built? It was built now. Yeah.
The grandkids.
About not buses, or many years around there. They built a middle school on. Sharon's house was built back in the, I'm thinking you're right.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to figure, you know, so that's how old that steel line was. And that plastic line, should have been put in the eighties.
So about that, I don't know.
Now, Lisa's has been down there long ago, I think.
Yeah, Louise has been there long time.
So what I found is that there was a.
We had to know who lived there, and Ron Baker lived in the one next door.
Yeah.
Oh, they ran pretty well.
Like I said, it's in the '70s.
I say Bill Martin, Bill, the old Martin place, that was probably built around the same time as Sharon's. Those, the only one I moved in down there, the only ones there was Sharon's, Bill's, Doc Buzz's, and Lisa's.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Okay, under what ordinance?
Vulgarity, I mean, they could be.
So it's short.
Yep, it's out. Oh, yeah, it doesn't tell. I can't figure it out, I need to go early, I don't know how.
I've got an idea, I'm right there.
Right, what's that?
Essentially a police officer who was hired in Grandville, these Grandville police officers, they like to go out and cover up and not talking about criminality. No, there's everything to do with that. Yes, and
We're not gonna argue about this.
It's not like it.
Let's talk about it. If you have complaints,
I've trademarked.
I like them all the time. You get mad when you won't let you talk. Okay?
Well, they won't let me talk here because they don't wanna talk
That's great.
about.
If you wanna have this discussion, we're not gonna continue right now.
I'm not having this discussion, I'm talking to my friend.
You talk to your friend, keep your Bulgarian out there, where you gotta go.
Okay, what Bulgaria?
I heard you say blue job for sure.
Okay.
So, do I need to talk about it any further? If you use
No, you don't
something
need
that
to
might
talk
be
about it.
deemed insulting to anybody in this room, you will be asked to leave.
Okay, essentially, I'm being threatened with being arrested.
I didn't say about arresting you, I'm talking about taking
Well,
us.
you said pass, but I did. Under what
I
order?
did try in the
Under
beginning.
what order?
Anybody in your council?
They can file a complaint, then I'll go ahead and sue them.
I'm not asking, I'm telling you.
What happens is that inappropriate sexual relations will be fined under the law. And pretty well, so this is exactly what they do. They go ahead and use their job to get here and terrorize the individual under color of law. Essentially, this is who we've already done. I think this should not be a police officer. But in any case, what what's board? Oh, okay. But anyway. In any case, you have. There you go. All right, talk to you later here. Bye-bye. But, you know, this is criminality here. See, they're gonna go ahead and hold the meeting tomorrow, they're gonna have time, so they're gonna make. So they're gonna go ahead and set the meeting. All
That's what that
Anyway, all right, people.
They don't believe what they're talking about.
Soon, so they get through tonight. I've got 80 or 80 text messages right now. I mean, my phone was just charged once, and I'm like, that's 70%. So, before this day is over, I'm about to have 200 minutes. I put everything on the computer while ago, and I could on the laptop. Took her out of the duties here at school, and then Tracy Hughes from there.
I told her that looked like the ring that I used to carry years ago for the storage when we.
Oh, yeah.
That's why when I saw that, that made me think of that.
I've got this many boards on the fridge, I have no idea what it is.
And you don't really have time to go around trying to have lots of town, do you?
Well, I have a couple of letters, one today, and I'll just put some secret on each one. If I can't find a place for it, I'll.
And then go ahead and let them go.
With that.
Don't throw it away, I did that.
What you
But I
do
took
one
it
day
in the post,
Yeah.
I had a whole cigar box full, and I got rid of it, and then I got to my house, and I wasn't put it on this mud, and this one.
Something off the store comes up.
It's fine, just cigar box, the ring, and all those separate things.
Could you imagine it's a
I have
race?
probably.
We'll be right in, just don't move.
Sorry, you're bleeding.
What's that movie where you always
One night in prison, deal, and this guy had all these keys, and he could go around the colors. Oh, what color?
I remember half of this.
Should have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already got.
How much did you do?
Yeah, hey,
And those are the ones you know.
well, for the most part, I still fidget every once in a while. I don't know.
They spent for very blank. They spent $4,964.
We have just like a.
Most people have come
Same.
in.
For that 4 cases,
That has a key like that.
which has only 3%, oddly unexpressed. Such as nothing more than 4K contributors.
You knew more than you thought you
What
did.
happens is that
That
if
was
they
every
really
Friday,
want,
getting
if
that,
they
like,
really want to,
My house.
Yeah. That will tell you what.
if they really want to,
Get there.
I've seen it.
I haven't
They
seen
could have bought a $30 watch that with about what?
No, actually, what I had in mind and what Jim said, he might
And add
think
it,
the guys are agree with is, Mount Dixon Park.
after years of playing
block our house through.
Well, yeah.
Go down on the road, the next mess on the side, and the hillside. They brought that has a building on it, permanent bathrooms.
I said, you should have, I haven't done it.
Yeah, well, not just saying about doing anything, it's kind of a plot.
I got the email.
That's what I was
Yeah, I was telling him about
Go to all them.
He said, it should be fine. The next project.
Well, that's just like in the city.
I had a list of years of jobs with it in my practice.
Actually, they have a process that way.
So I asked them, when they,
There was a lot that needed raised, one of them were ones that they were buried. Yeah. So I think that's what.
And we actually talked about that, we thought maybe we could sell advertising on the fence. It's a whole committee working on it, so it's not just, once we get the grant, the rule is we have to have it done this calendar year. When we get the grant, it has to be done.
Yeah.
So.
That's what they want. They don't
City
want.
won't be involved in the cost of this in any way, except.
Guess what?
Yeah. Like, we need to make some work to get a regular dispensing. But I had already done a talk to Joe a little bit.
So anyway, people around here.
Kevin, your guys are trying to get their water.
I have.
The city has to be involved, especially.
You're right, they know.
We can have, we don't want to. I mean, we do, because we'll have you try. The sign, dog park required.
Really good. I've been there.
Well, and that's it, we have, really nice golf courses, and there's one out in, that was in Colorado, and I mean, they had a fence. Like chicken wire or something like that, I mean, it's sandy soil, and it stays. I mean, it
I did that too.
What?
We put that.
When I was
what was the meeting you guys were talking about? You said something about a meeting tomorrow, is that just to talk to somebody or something, or is it else?
It's the, what do they call it, guys? USDA. And the grant.
We both moved at the same time, it wasn't your fault.
Because of that overreach, they're going to talk about what we can do. So we could talk about that next meeting. Okay.
Finally show, Joe?
7:38.
Meeting, closed session ended, back in session at 7:38.
We need a motion.
Need a motion to go back in open session.
I'll make a motion that we return back to open session.
Second.
Motion second to return to open session. All those in favor?
Yes. Yes.
Bill Kittredge,
Yes.
Jamie Conway.
Here.
Dick Carroll.
Yes.
All right, short closed session.
At what time?
7:38. 7:38. Looked over a few applications for employment. The council just basically gave Lana the okay to hire who she deems fit for her spots that are available, and that's all was done there. Now we'll move on. Joe, did you get all your business taken care of?
Yes, I did. Where do you guys want to start?
Well, let's just start from the beginning there, wherever that is.
Ballpark contract.
Okay. Now, my fault, I didn't make multiple copies for you to read. What this is, it just states the school can use that. It's more of a gentleman's agreement. We're not really bonded to them, they're not really bonded to us. It's, simple fact, we keep concessions, they bring games here to town, and, you know, we keep the money at the ballpark, present an atmosphere for more people to come.
Is it the same as what we
Same as
signed
it's
every year?
been doing,
No.
only thing I changed in there was the date.
Date.
So this is 2023.
Do you have consistent staff to run that concession stand?
I usually have parents that help that are part of the game. So like JV would be a couple JV parents while varsity's playing, a couple of varsity parents while JV's playing, stuff like that. I'm really never ever shorthanded when the school comes. There's usually more help.
Well, I do appreciate the scoreboard that they've purchased for the field.
Okay, then anybody have questions?
No.
I'll make a motion that we allow East Newton High School to use the ballpark for their, 23
season.
23 season.
Second.
Got a motion second to allow the East Newton.
Both of us.
Got a motion and a half a dozen seconds. Let East Newton use the ball fields for the softball program. All those in favor? 4-0.
And that is the only copy, Iris, so when you
Okay,
sign
there-
that, I'll have Lana make it some more.
Okay.
Oh, here, Tom.
We need to do the resolution for it.
Need the resolution. Somebody's, Donna, you read that?
A resolution of the City of Granby, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of Granby and EPP Park School District. Whereas Ira Hawkins is duly elected mayor on April 6, 2021, and as the Board of Aldermen, feel it is sound business practice to have a resolution granting authority to Mayor Ira Hawkins to sign this agreement on behalf of the City of Granby. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Granby that Ira Hawkins, as mayor, is authorized to sign on behalf of the City of Granby an agreement between the City of Granby and East Newton R6 School District for the City of Granby, Missouri. All other resolutions in conflict herewith are hereby repealed.
I move that we accept the resolution as read.
Second?
A motion second to accept that resolution as read. Those in favor? 4-0. Thank you, Joe. Moving on.
Okay, is it on Main Days?
Region M is what we
Region
have
M?
written down.
Okay, so the Region M grant has been renewed and sent in. Basically, what I applied for is wages for myself and for Cliff, fringe for myself, fuel, and the things that we normally apply for. Like, I didn't apply for any new equipment or anything like that. So when they take that bid in, what'll happen is they always will say they have so many dollars and there's always so much, more that people are asking for. So we'll start the barter system, well, where we go to these meetings and they'll say, well, what can you shave off this or that? So that's where Lana and I will have to, put our heads together on numbers and.
Have you already sent in
that? Yeah, the deadline was last month.
What was the amount that you sent in
It was
for?
around 70,000.
And last year they gave you what?
29.
That's a big difference.
Well, it is. We had quite a bit more people there asking for money in the region.
Well, it doesn't seem to get better.
No, and they shouldn't, honestly. They let region in next door, and some of them, come over and also ask. So far, the board and the ones who sit on that have been keen to the ones of us that are in this region, the current region. We get kind of the first pick on some of that, to where they're not in our way because they're from another region where they are offering money somewhere else. But it's just
The 70,000, basically, you're talking about fuel,
Wages?
wages. and
wages.
benefits.
Is most of it wages and benefits? Is it to try to cover back what you guys are making right now?
Well, it's just to help out with, if
Because I
it's-
know a
if
big
it's
chunk of
available.
that's coming out of the general
Yeah,
account.
Yeah, so if it's available and we can get it, any of it we can grab will help, the relief there and some of that.
When you find out, like,
It'll be, I think, June before they'll award it. We'll go to a couple of meetings in between that, and the appearances is where it's important to show up and show your concern and see if they have questions or they want to talk about things or progress or the tonnage or things like that, and you're going to be available for comment.
Your mayor is on the board of Region M, and, I try my best to look out for our stuff, and, it's just my opinion as a mayor, if you're gonna recycle, then you have to pay for the man that's there doing it. If not, why have a recycle center at all?
Well, Region M states, they want you to become independent through time. And so but they still offer incentives every year for us to grab what we can.
So it's a bigger incentive for the city of Granby. If we have to continue biting the bullet here, it's the incentive for Granby to stop recycling completely and open the fence for dumpsters for people to dump their trash in. Am I right? If this becomes a burden on the general account.
Yeah, if it ever becomes a burden.
Yeah.
But how do we move towards, if they're wanting to incentivize us to become more sufficient in our own funds to run this, how do we move to that direction? Do we have a game plan? Is there?
I don't think any of us in Southwest Missouri could stand by ourselves without the DNR. Because like milk jugs this last time were worth more than pop cans. Aluminum used to be the thing everybody wanted to go pick up out of the ditch and sell. So the items that come and go are such, Republic Services has such control over those things throughout the entire United States. They can minimize what money goes out in places. They're the ones in charge of the landfills. They're in charge of all these other trucks you see sitting around, these oil vats at these stores that have a lot of grease and things. They are really a monopoly, but yet they are a part of what we do and through the grants and their tax base that they give back through tax incentives that helps the DNR support this.
The DNR wants us to recycle. They're 100% for it.
Yeah.
100%. The problem is they want the city of Granby on our limited resources to foot the bill eventually. And council, that's tough.
I don't think any of us, like I said, will ever be able to stand alone.
So they don't offer any training or anything to move even into that direction?
They
just cut funding?
They have people, so regionally, City of Neosho had stepped up several years ago. So Newton McDonald County
things go to Neosho. Neosho's got the extra, any town in McDonald County or here, Seneca or us, they've got the extra resources for the extra manpower. They market it with the DNR, then they help sell it to get the money that goes back in the kitty. So that's something we don't have to do here because then it takes several extra employees also. And so that's kind of how the groups work. Nevada has its kind of its own regional compactor. They cover that end up on that end, stuff like that. Cassville used to have one on this side.
You take your recycle to Neosho.
Yes.
So, and now we're trying to ask questions about what Neosho was doing, but my thought here is are they standing on their own 2 feet?
Oh, no. No, it's very important to get your grants in and to be a part of their meetings, be a part of their things, show your face, be familiar, and play that game.
So you said that milk jugs are worth more. Who gets that money?
DNR, I mean, it all goes back through, when that money comes through, those vendors, they help set you up with the vendors, but then you don't get any money because it's all incentivized. Your pounds turn into dollars on your grant. So the more poundage you produce in a year looks better for you for getting those grants.
So if our
Percentage.
citizens, like you were talking about earlier about not flushing your baby wipes, if we got more information out to citizens about.
And we do from time to
we
time send
need
little
to-
pamphlets she does, or we send a questionnaire or something out.
I don't ever look at that. I pay my bill online and I don't look at that. So is there another way?
They give us money for that sometimes, and I think that's in there also for things you do. You go to the school, you speak to some of the classes, you make sure the kids and the parents, try to have little field trips. Things come out and look things over, and then, hey, Mom, Dad, let's go to recycle. Now, I've got a lot of kids that come now, that through contacts through me, that brought their parents to the recycle.
Well, is there like something we could post on our website and then we can send out a city alert saying we need to up our game on the recycling? And I mean, we've got to get that information out
Yes.
because I didn't know.
I have a letter.
I throw 2 milk cartons away a week in my trash.
I have a
Sorry.
letter it's an involving letter that I've been trying to work to get through all our school teachers in the classrooms and then minimize it down where it's not a whole sheet, it's just something that can go out and slip in our mail outs and things here in town.
I feel like we just need to get some on social media.
Yeah.
We do.
Question on your recycle department, you weren't here for the department reports. Number 3 on there, can you explain that to me?
Number 3.
Yeah.
Yes. So regional manager from Marriott. So the Andrews family and the O'Reilly family that is owns O'Reilly Auto Parts nationwide. So they, one of them, there's like, grandpa's out of the way, there's like 4 brothers that are in that mix that are, I would say, 55 to 60, 65 years old. Some of the tax base on what these guys do is paid back into government for incentives that go back into grants or other programs. The bottle caps that we collect, they go back into park benches. So Miss Mason at the high school started a long time ago, got me hooked up here with this outfit, and I can't remember which brother, but he owns a lot of the junk you have in the things around. So you turn into the Marriott up there. She in turn says, she can help us with free park benches, or the school free park benches with things like that. And then she sends it in a corporate, that tax base, that they fund that, that's all free, that comes back to us. We just have to go pick up the free park bench. So they have a poundage of what different caps are for, what they're worth, and then that comes back. So, been doing this a while with the school, so I think we have 2 new benches here in the Granby School, 1 or 2 at the high school, 1 or 2 coming to the Triway School.
So you're saving caps for benches?
Yes.
Wow.
So I'm going to try to line things up in the parks with them also. And so she was by the other day seeing what we do, because I turn in a massive amount, because we actually take the time to, because one of the things with the recycle, you have to organize the plastics before they go to the compactor. So while we're doing that, is twist the cap off and throw it you'd have to come see in the tub and you go through it. Well, she had stopped by to see what we do because we turned in so much. And so, she said they were like 30 pounds shy of reaching their goal, and we've always helped them. And I showed her where we had things, how we were doing it. She was amazed. I said, well, when it's rainy, when it's this, when it's that, you take that extra time to collect that. You're not just always standing around twiddling your thumbs. There's always something you can be doing that's progress moving forward. So this here is another way environmentally that we're getting ahead through the recycle with a waste product. And those benches are made out of plastic caps themselves that are melted down. And they're that hard, Jim knows what they are, that's a hard stuff they make, we had some picnic tables type stuff before like that, but it's a hard plastic, heavy bench that sets out. And usually they'll put a name tag on it if you choose to. So there's all kinds of extra things to reach out and find. You just have to find them and work them. So that's what that was. She stopped by to see what we were doing, even brought her recycles, her carload stuff there, and threw some cardboard away and talked to us and all that.
Okay.
Just made a trip to see us, say hi.
It did look interesting.
Yep. And I think they do have she was in Atlanta just not too long ago. I think they have over 30 or 40 different, she oversees different venues.
Okay. Just curious.
What do you have on that list? Oh, Mine in Town
I don't
Day
have a
next?
No, he's got vacation is next.
Vacation's
Okay,
next.
vacation.
So, I'm never hardly ever able to use them up, and I try sometimes. I try. But I'm probably going to need to use some up here at the end of March, because once full-blown April and May get on top of us, there's too much mowing, weed eating, spraying, nice weather to be doing other things, on Mine Town days, and I'll lose those in April. I'll lose them in April, right? Sorry, I think I lose them 1st of April. So I'm going to have to find time in the next 3 or 4 weeks to burn the last of those.
When you're gone on vacation, who covers the?
Cliff will know most things. I will do my very best to make sure that the equipment in the trailers, that nothing has to be pulled, or he has to worry about it, or Jim's guys have to worry about it. And, I'll set that up with Neosho and have those already down to reset. Nobody has to fuel a truck, move equipment, other than the tamping of the bins. I might need Jim to help with Brian or somebody stand by to tamp down the trash bin.
I don't think there's anything wrong with taking vacation when you need to.
That's why you got it.
And you have 52 hours.
Yeah, so I need to use a few days before that date.
I noticed you mentioned David Putman on your report list. Apparently that was an excellent hire by Mr.
Yeah, he's done real good.
Yeah, so he was mentioning how well he's doing. That's awesome that you're working with him on that.
Yeah, he helped us, do all the setup out here. He's lended a hand everywhere where he could, and that Jim had time to let him. So we appreciate that.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, that brush hogging down there, he never ran that machine before, and that's a wide open area, so.
Practice.
I've seen him all over town. It looks like he's working pretty hard, so that was a great hire.
Go down there,
That machine
when
has
Elton first started
gotten
doing
into
it, we
some
seen him down there.
Sweet.
Did you keep him down? I'm kidding.
Well, I think it's okay on the vacation.
Yeah,
barring,
definitely.
isn't it?
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah.
It is.
Next says trailer repairs.
Yeah, those are just part of my grant. I also put that in the grant.
Okay.
But also, I think I was budgeted some of that last year also. And those are minor things, but we are getting some age on trailers, so that could be anything from running a whole new strand of taillights because broke here, or been pulled off or something, to simple taillight or doing some sand and repainting, so stuff like that.
Well, you missed it because I've asked to have some of those items listed on your department head reports. So when you have equipment that needs maintenance,
Yep.
or you've done maintenance, we want to know about that.
Okay, I can do that.
Thank you.
For mining town days.
Okay. So, did you guys get one of these in my?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was a couple of meetings here, and under the urgency of time because we're gonna be up against the wall before we know it. It lists just kind of simply things that were discussed, kind of like some minutes here that, that first one you see on the 28th, went over the good, the bad, and the ugly. I want to point that out because I don't want to stereotype, but carnivals are just hard to manage, and that mainly that line was talked about that in particular. And I think we all know we've been this route before talking about that. We discussed information that Mr. Burnett and I myself had gathered the same song and dance, and I let him take kind of the lead on the carnival. And when he reported, some of you might be standing here to remember, but we had found one, tried to make a move. We're up against Popular Bluff and West Plains. From that Saturday to that Monday, Fort Smith, Popular West Plains, Fort Smith. So Fort Smith and Popular Bluff. So Fort Smith stepped up, took it. We lost it there. But like Steve reported, that most all of them were about a $50,000 deal. The next ones were all around a $100,000 deal, and would laugh at him. And so when he would talk about, what we had to offer, what we were up against. So as we moved on to that meeting, we talked about pop-up market, the car show, moving them to a little safer venue, getting them off the highway here where we were so congested, because this is a state highway, try to make it a little safer. And so we move on to the next meeting, and we've got 4 members there who are willing to go another round with me, if you guys will allow that. That is Steve Burnett, Pam Lee Master, and then Sabrina Barrett, and Sally Bush. And then, just like last year, but hopefully more so this year, we asked for any extra satellites. Anybody would work off them and help, voluntarily. And so I think we had some good responses in there. I think we have the right people selected this year that are competent and also polite and businesslike. They can help us. So I'd like your blessing for those 4 to be approved.
Let's approve these 4 candidates first, council. Steve Burnett, Pamela Master, Sabrina Barrett, and Sally Bush to be on the old Mine and Town Days Committee.
I'll make a motion that we approve Steve Burnett, Pam Lee Master, Sabrina Barrett, Sally Bush for the old Minington Days committee.
Yeah. Second.
Didn't think of the word.
I've got a motion and a second to approve the appointees to the old Mine and Town Days Committee: Steve Burnett, Pamela Master, Sabrina Barrett, and Sally Bush. All those in favor? 4-0. What was the next thing that we had?
Dates.
The dates.
Okay. Go ahead.
So, you know what, I'm personally, people think otherwise, but it doesn't matter if 1st of June, 4th of July, fall. When I suggested we move it last year was simply because of the competition factor and trying to find that other date that, regardless of what was going on around us, that we were more of the solo event like we were in 1983 and 4 in that time era and through. And so we can still have the 4th of July and still do the things like we've always done. But I think participation, especially going into COVID, coming through COVID, and right after COVID is not the way to go anymore. But with your blessing, we did talk about doing the first week of June again, which is June 3rd and 4th. That's Saturday, Sunday. And doing more of a hometown deal with more hands-on and having probably a bounce house theme, if you guys agree to that. But also having several other elements involved with the, what do you call those hacky sack things? Cornhole. The cornhole and the, of course, the horseshoes and some of those staples that will still be there. but getting more of those events, different things that combine the youth and our older generation, and the car show right there on the hill in front of the Granby House, pop-up market all the way down Beaver Street there of Dick Smith Park from one end to the other, and try to bring everything back in to one site. There are still some things I want to do on this end of town through that Saturday, involving community building and some arts and crafts things with Mr. Humble. That's part of that stuff. I visited with back when he was a vendor of mine before he was had a business here in town, and still doing things here with the 5K and the pancake feed, and still have some things that go on for a while that's intense. But then the main focus is through there with where you put your energy throughout the afternoon. And so that's kind of the thought process, kind of the date. I have some other things I haven't let out of the bag, the cat out of the bag yet. I'm trying to work on.
So basically, you need the council to okay a date.
Yes.
Right
so,
now.
Yeah.
The Old Modern Town Days, the event is still in the planning stage, obviously. It's hard to talk about things you're trying to get in there.
Yeah.
I would encourage the committee to secure your ads.
Yep.
And get that schedule and paper out just as soon as you can.
Yeah, well, Chad, I didn't see him here, but he usually tries to get that out that last couple of weeks, and that sometimes will fall, if I can get him to do it earlier, fine. That falls on the print and the press from weekly to bi-weekly on where we're at. So I will mention that to him as quick as we can.
And yeah, that would just, I think, getting those papers
And it's
out
hard
really
to go scatter them around, and you miss somebody, and then while you're missing them, trying then to run back to them, somebody saying, hey, I already went through 15 or 20 or 30 copies.
That'd be nice for the businesses to have them for at least a couple of weeks, maybe.
Yes, I agree.
Date, council, do you want to discuss that date some more?
Nope.
What are your thoughts?
We're good with it. I'm good with it.
Make a motion that we have Old Mining Town Days, June 3rd and 4th of 2023.
Second.
Got a motion and a second on the floor to set the dates for Old Modern Town Days at June 3rd and 4th, 2023. All those in favor? 4-0.
Hey, I do have a question though, because I think we talked about it before, but so like your music, how do you raise money to pay someone?
Same with our ads. Everything we try to raise through our ads. And try to put in that Old Mine Town Days Committee fund and build on it. And because that thing catches us at a crazy time there at the 4th, where sometimes it's fiscal year, this year, that year, money comes in and out of it paying, where sometimes we give the year before a black eye or the year after a big black eye because of fireworks on the deduction.
I just know like one, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just know like one night, who's the band that usually you have?
Duke Mason.
Duke Mason.
No, the other one. Thunderbird.
Thunderbird band.
So like on another night, it'd be nice to have like a more modern, you know what I mean? Because I have tons of people, friends that have bands that would be great. And we bring your,
Saying a younger, friendly.
you know,
Yeah.
a younger crowd down.
Yeah, so I'm no stranger to music. I play drums in a bluegrass band. The side to that.
Not bluegrass.
I know. Music in general, but those contacts sometimes that I don't have the funds for.
Some of them are pretty expensive.
And you'd think, hey, that's nice. I'd like to see those guys. They played at Indigo Sky or Downstream somewhere, and they were just, $1,000 maybe. Well, no, Joe, they're $2,500. And $2,500 is half my fireworks.
Okay, let's talk, because I
So if you can get me people
Yeah.
that will
I
play
think
for
I can.
crumbs sometimes, I don't know what to do on some of that.
Did you have a name or two?
Oh, yeah, I do. I'll talk.
All right.
The Thunderbird band was the only one that was paid.
Yeah.
Now they're the only ones that think now it's free, aren't they?
Yeah, so about every last 2 or 3 times the Pats came, I only had to pay the one guitar player.
Hey, Joe, have you thought about doing like a battle of the bands?
No.
And they would have to pay, they would have to pay an entry.
They pay
and
to,
then-
yeah, they pay to
Yeah.
play.
That would be cool.
You know, one time we,
Yeah.
had different, types of music one night that ran way late in the night. And, from every different type of music you could imagine. And that was really rough, because some of it was way out there. I can't believe, I couldn't believe what we did after they came.
We should sell alcohol.
So, but yeah, I mean, if I had some help, if people would
I mean,
help me do that.
You were, yeah,
Yeah.
you wanna bring a crowd,
Chelsea, listen.
beer garden.
We would like to do a beer garden. I feel
So-
like that would be a draw.
The council would like to, or would like me to have a committee that's okay at the end
I feel like,
When is
Maybe you
this-
can discuss it at
When is
your-
the beverage store coming in?
We're still 2 months out on coolers.
Maybe Mr. Hearn might be interested in working with the council on,
Hey, I've
or
got
working
all
with the,
all that white rock behind my building. Matt and I have talked about it a lot, so.
I'm just thinking, cause he's coming in town with a business, he's starting a business, you're talking about more modern.
Mhm.
Mr. Cook owns the building in front of it, it is for sale, I'm not sure if it's been sold yet, but that might be a good
It's off
area
the
to do
market,
something like
actually.
that. It's off the market?
yeah.
Someone's leasing it.
Okay, if you know who's leasing it, then it might be nice to reach out to them, they might be interested in working on this.
WH.
Okay, that's awesome. They're really easy to work with. And then if it bled over in behind your building, then I think that's, yeah, it's business people working together. And then it doesn't
So-
have to take over the.
I think we need to be able to pursue that
Okay.
What
avenue.
exactly am I hearing here?
A beer garden?
I thought that's what I was hearing. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, we're not growing anything, I mean, we're growing Granby. You're gonna make money.
So, do we vote on that now, when I pursue the local business, or we wait?
We don't have to vote on that
No,
today.
we got a little time on that.
Do we have a lot of time on it? I mean, it's already almost March.
I'm out of time on a lot of things, because this gets faster and faster every day for me.
Well, I say we let
The
it.
city doesn't necessarily make money on it except for through indirect revenue.
Right.
If you're drawing people in, you're helping the business that just decided they were gonna open up, if you pull them in. Then you're helping another business who's leasing the park, pull them in, get everybody working together. Then you got Gabe getting his non-bluegrass music in. You got Lindsay pulling in her idea of battle of the bands of some sort, which Rico and Lindsay's going to police and make sure that everybody's safe.
Oh, I thought you were asking us to be in the band.
I'm just saying we can pull this all together and you bring indirect revenue and you help new businesses that are
Yeah.
coming in with their sales tax.
So-
But we could actually get $1 off of every wristband that goes into that beer garden too. I mean, we can.
To put into Old Mining Town days.
There's like a ONTD fund, we could be all in for that.
There is an
More money
ONTD.
going back.
There is one, yes.
Food trucks have to pay in a certain percentage.
Yes,
so-
we
Yes, what
still
does-
do the 10% with everything that comes through, just like it was way back in the ordinances through time. Yes.
Last year seemed to be a very successful mining town days.
What did we
It
make
seemed to
last
me,
year?
did we have any funds from that?
Where are we
available for this
setting
year
that, Lana?
to go towards our-
$8,981.43 is what's in our Old Mining Town Day funds
Yeah, and
now.
usually it was 6 and 7 and through times we had, the fireworks takes a chunk, you know, take 5 or 6,000 out of that.
Where do you get your fireworks from?
Walled. It's in Kansas City. Walled Company.
We did have a question on those keychains. They're setting up a Meet the Candidates, and we were wondering if one of your Old Mining Town Day Committee people might be interested in maybe selling those during that, on the Meet the Candidates.
Which keychains?
The ones that we purchased last year with the mural.
To
Okay.
help with Old Mining Town Days.
Well, yeah.
They're in,
If anybody-
they're at the front.
Right.
We just
Yeah.
will occasionally sell one or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
We'll
thought
find
maybe
a
they
way.
could have some of those there during that, to
Okay.
kind of help you guys. But no, I think this is an interesting.
So we
So I
vote on
think
the
we
beer
have-
garden tonight or not?
Yeah, let's
No.
vote.
No? Okay.
Oh, Gabe's ready to make a motion.
We are okay with the,
Date?
Why not?
with the date, we're okay with the,
Bounce house.
bounce house, whatever you need to do for the event.
So the bounce house, real quick, what I want to do with those is set up as many of them as we can,
adult, the ones I'm going after is rated for adult. So that way the teenagers and the younger kids can be a part of it. There's probably gonna be a Mickey Mouse something here and there for the other ones. But I wanna sell an armband for the entire day. That way that color gets you whatever you wanna do out through there, that we don't have to have money changing hands anywhere other than that one.
Bounce
main
house
booth.
area.
Yeah.
And they have games
And,
also.
yeah, and so then the next day, that's Sunday afternoon, we sell a different color, and then, of course, we'll lead into fireworks that night. But, you know, that's kind of the way, on the events, how I wanna set them up. There might be a couple of events that are for older adults, that are adults, that are.
Well, and the way you're talking, it's gonna be across the highway anyway, not in the park where everything else is taking place if we do the beer garden.
Well, I was talking about my secret weapon I'm trying to work
Oh.
on without.
You're not gonna spill that?
I can't.
Ain't spilling it.
I can't because Chad's not here, but it'll go out and then somebody will take it.
Gotcha.
I'll let you know next meeting.
Well, I tell you what I will say, if somebody has an idea that involves a beer garden, they come to the council meeting next meeting and present the particulars
Okay.
of it.
The idea.
And the council can vote
That works.
up or down.
Okay. And I plan on trying to put together another Old Mine Town Days meeting next couple of weeks. And that way, we've got something else to work for on the next agenda and keep moving forward.
Okay, Joe, I appreciate that.
The Grove Granby Committee, Sean, their name, Sean. We have talked, and I've talked with Barry and the Stofers and different people, so an idea here on that is for them to help manage and run the pop-up market. And that's gonna take a lot of work. That's gonna take somebody that, when that thing is being set up and managed and overseen, I can't run up and down through there and still be everywhere else. So I feel comfortable with them doing that, and then taking a percentage of the booths, and we'll work out the details with that. But they can charge whatever they want, but the more they charge, the more I make on the 10%. But
I don't see anything wrong with that.
I don't either, because I would love to get a few $100 extra and not have to do the work.
Also, I'm under the understanding that last year, taxes weren't collected by everybody that had a booth, and that needs to happen.
What
The
it,
taxes from,
The vendors.
how do you know they didn't pay taxes? Because of the person that went in didn't pay any?
Correct. People that
I
had.
mean, they're supposed to.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's on
They're
them.
supposed to go to
Yes.
state.
yeah.
And I don't,
But I
I'd
don't
like to know
if
that
you're
got, if that got turned in,
Well,
is how,
you wouldn't know
Yeah.
that personally.
Mhm.
What
They get some
I vend
stuff.
at places all the time. What they do when I go in to vend, they hand me the slip,
Right.
and it's my job to do it. However, I know they turn in a list somewhere of who's there, because I know in Arkansas once I didn't get my slip turned in, and I thought I did, and they sent me a letter saying, "Hey, you owe this much." I'm like, "Whoa, I don't owe that much," because they just assumed.
yeah, because
it was
I
me.
only sold X
Right.
amount of dollars.
Yeah.
Right.
And we need to make sure
So they
that
hunt me
that
down.
paperwork gets handled and handed to each vendor,
Okay.
and we get the proceeds from that, because that's,
Yeah.
if we're drawing that money in, we need the taxes from
Right.
it.
So I don't know. I don't know who we turn it into to make sure that they're.
Yes.
I know a lot of those vendors, food truck vendors,
Yes.
are on their own,
Mhm.
on their,
Yeah.
on their own
No,
accord.
but what I'm saying is, they get given a slip.
Yes.
But somebody in charge turns in the names.
Yeah.
Because I know that
Well, I turn
happened
in
to
like
me.
food vendors to the health department, you know, and stuff like that. And then they're here, walking around, you don't even know who they are, and they're making sure that they're up to par, and then they're yelling at me if they're not, and then I gotta go over and tell them what they need to do.
Right.
So that's not hard to implement.
So basically, the event's ongoing, it's going.
Yeah.
And being added to
Yeah.
as necessary.
Yep. So,
Any other questions, council?
I would like to see somebody at least, even entertain the idea of that Battle of the Bands thing too. That would be cool.
which passed it down through there and take a quick glance at it. That's the community building. Just my day-to-day things. Those are bookings that are still filling in and still, or have been and still to come. My furthest out booking right now is Christmas. I have 3 or 4 or 5 already booked in November. So our price hike that we had, just a $25 bump, it's not really changed anything. It's still a busy place. But there's a constant mopping and sweeping and wiping off tables that goes on with that. And then mowing season's getting ready to start, so, you know, what I'm asking from you guys, to keep Cliff, if I can keep him extended to the 25, 30-hour range, just to help with that.
Do you believe that the improvements that we have made on the gym and the community building?
Yes, people are all the time going, oh, I haven't been here in a while, this looks awesome,
Okay,
looks great.
That's always good to hear.
Yes, and I, you know, that's why last year I wanted to have the all-school reunion in there, different things, so we were getting that extra people that came in and out for those things to see that and to see some of that. Just like some of them will come to the meet and greet that hadn't been up here in a while, and, you know, look at that.
That's a lot, though.
I got one more thing back on Old Mining Town Days.
Yes.
How do we get citizens that want to help and volunteer to do things?
Yep.
What do they need to do?
So, we're gonna take and post those meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So we have those volunteers that say they wanna volunteer when they're out there twittering, you know, on Facebook. They can show up,
Maybe I was.
or they can't.
Okay.
That's their call. And then also, everybody I bump into here, businesses in town that run a business that I see fixing a flat or getting a hamburger or whatever, I tell them, I try to tell them. So that way, it's more personal also.
Mhm.
It's from me, and I enjoy your tax base, and I want you to do good, and I want to come back through the parks or through the city. So I try to make sure personable, you know, more personable on that level. But we want as many volunteers as we can get, that are people, and they'll come in good faith, that will work behind our ideas. Not people are gonna come argue, or I will send them home. I mean.
Will the bathrooms that they're working on right now down the park
Yeah,
be
right.
ready by the time Old Mining
Yes,
Town
oh
Days
yes,
gets here?
yeah, we expect them to be done this spring sometime.
Is that gonna give you enough bathroom to accommodate most of the
Probably not.
crowd?
I've thought this thought, you know, already. That Saturday, if it's gigantic, and that Sunday, when the fireworks start getting close and people realize those are bathrooms, you could probably put a guy standing down there in a towel drying hands and taking tips. Because I don't know if you'll be able to keep the
Hey,
toilet paper
you raise
stocked.
some more money.
I don't know if you'll be able to keep the toilet paper and the things stocked and cleaned with that many people coming through. And so it will, I mean, I'm gonna have to assign somebody
Volunteers, if
to
you
a
can find
bathroom
them.
and say, can you check this thing out every hour, please, and let me know what you need.
Is there like a closet in that?
There's not, but there will be.
For that type of thing?
Yeah, there will be in that thing. We'll have supplies in it and things that'll be locked up to where we can access it right then, right there. Won't be something I have to carry around town other than when I restock it.
Council, any other question? Obviously, you know, we all, I think, speaking for everybody in this room, we just love to have a good event.
Right.
I've said this before, and the council probably has heard this. There's people in this town, I think most of them maybe your neighbor, people that are in your neighborhood. These events are some of the highlights of their year. A lot of people ain't got a lot of money. They don't go to Silver City very many times. They just limited. So when they can walk to the park and enjoy a great event,
right.
I think council, I think you take a bow for that type of thing. You know, you've done well with folk.
So, yay or nay on Cliff
Oh,
Extended hours.
to keep him where he's at, the 25 to 30 mark, because it really benefits.
do we gotta vote on that? I mean, I say yes, but. I don't- is that
What's
something-
you working on
I'm gonna
now?
say what Lana says, it's gonna come out of our general funds.
Yeah. What
He's
money
been-
you making,
he's
Ron?
been-
What you
he's
doing
been
right now?
planned in 26, 27 hours, maybe
And you
28.
just, and you just wanna say.
Keep him where he's
keep
at,
them.
so I have somebody to fall back on that has learned now a whole lot of what we do and what we do every day and where we go, and so.
So
especially with me being off.
February, March, and April, May,
Well, I'm getting,
June,
I mean, yeah, it's gonna get.
6 months before our next fiscal year. Am I correct? 4 months? Okay. So, we can revisit what we're doing and what it's benefiting us when we start budgeting for the next year. Am I speaking out of turn? Is that? But right now, we can go ahead and continue on with what he's doing, and then we'll continue just as a council observing what's happening.
Okay.
Sally might need some help with that, dog park.
Yeah, we gotta start tearing out the fence, I guess, if we get that going, don't we? The old fence.
Is the old fence 4 foot? The old fence, Sally, at that,
I didn't measure the old fencing that was there, there's actually
It's 4
different
foot.
types of
is it
fencing.
bad?
And,
Is the fencing bad?
It's probably only a residential grade, I'm sure, since it was a fenced yard. So I don't know if it would actually be of a good enough quality to continue using it. I don't
What is the procedure when there's 2 or 3 or 4 dogs in a park?
Well,
And
owners have to be responsible for their pets, there's definitely gotta be signage that, you know,
Okay.
there's a lot of just.
Do you keep them on some kind of a leash, or can you let them go?
The idea is to be able to let your animals off the leash for a change, because they're supposed to be leashed on the streets.
And in the park.
They're not supposed to have them freedom, and it's a chance to take them there and let them off the leash where they can run, chase a frisbee, and just get some exercise. And, but, you know, it's kind of up to each person. You have to, you know, when you go to the dog park, you stop, you look to see what other animals are there, and like, does that one look impressive? Is it a good time to
And
take
you
one?
know your dog.
Sure. And you just have to be aware of what's around you. I took mine to them before, you know, in different areas, and, you know, like I said, you just have to be aware of each animal's there and what they act like, and, you know, be responsible for your pet. And you have to clean up after, right?
You know, one of the
Yes,
best,
sir.
one of the best ones we went to, Carkeys, whenever we built, we were up there for a while, and they had, it was a fenced in area, but they also had a fence down the middle, and they had 3 gates, one you came in,
One for
and then
small
one on
dogs
each
and one for
side,
big
so
dogs.
that, yeah,
I've seen that.
you know, if you have a dog in there that you think you don't really want yours around them, you could go to the other side and let them in there.
Yeah, and I really like those, but, the problem is that our town's small and the lot's small, there really
Yeah,
wouldn't
they
be
get
enough,
big enough.
there's not enough room to really allow the animals to have any activity and run around if you take them into.
If that dog park was in use, would people in this room be using it? Or do you have your own properties and your own places you go?
I've taken my dogs down to Arkansas Dog Park before, to be quite honest with
So
you.
you have taken them to a dog
I
park?
have. I don't do it all the time, but.
Because there's a lot at the ballpark every day walking the dog. I think they had somewhere like that to go.
That one dog down there, the 4 foot, ain't gonna fit her in.
No, he's 4 or 5 foot tall. Right.
Well, you know, and that was part of my thing too, and I thought, I mean, I had discussions, I researched online, you know, and then when, I talked to Jeremy, who is the guy who was doing fencing over in Neosho, because I had requested first for 5 foot fencing. And he said, Neosho's only using 4. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, and then I thought about it, and I thought, you're not supposed to leave your pet there alone unattended. You're supposed to be there with your pet. So it's not like you're taking a turn loose in your yard.
Sitting on a bench or something, someplace to sit and out of the sun?
Actually, Jim's already said he solved that problem. He said he has a picnic table put in there.
Well,
Or had your picnic table donated for down there.
okay, well,
Jim has talked a lot about this before in the past. He even said he has like a really cute fire hydrant to put in it, and he has some really good ideas too.
Yes. And actually, he's taken it a step further. Like I said, I haven't got past the fencing. I knew just raising the money for the fencing was gonna probably be my thing. And, so, yeah, adding that to it was like a major plus.
He's waiting on it.
We've got 3 different people, I know that at the ballpark every day. Yeah, got one gentleman down there, like I said, with that big black and white
Does
dog.
he need someone to explain it better?
I gotta wrap my mind
be okay.
What do you not understand?
Yeah.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to dismiss.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
A motion second that we dismiss, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Thanks, everybody, and
So
thanks
you
to the
know I'm
crowd.
wrapping his mind around it? Is that what, just the garden part or just in here?
What if we get the moonshine man down here too?
Spend his vacation working on it.
He'll really freak out then.
It's like you said, where's your vacation coming?
We're at, Joe.
What, I missed it.
We're at.
He's trying to wrap his mind.
Right, wrapping my mind around this beer garden.
I realize that, you know, the city's smaller than the factory, but at the factory, they really wanted you to take your vacation. But
No,
you had
they said
one
Humble
vacation,
is the ones that are
whatever
renting
it
that
is,
back
like
there,
you're
that
out
thing.
like
Think
that.
about that whole spot where Yellow Sunshine's at there.
Well, they used
I bet you anything Humble would do something.
I'm
sure you will.
So this week,
The only thing.
for my wedding anniversary.
Hey,
So I'm kind of torn. So keychains
James
now,
doesn't want
or
something
we
being sold.
Yeah, you need to do whatever you need to do there. We'll be at Is that all I need?
Yes, sir.
You got the other part. Thank you, Joe.
Oh, I don't know about a battle. I mean, I could get a battle or two. Actually, I'm going to see him Saturday night. I could mention it to him and see what they would charge. June 3rd or 4th.
Or even just